Welcome to the RotoWire Start Sit Show. Yes, halftime, Minnesota, Cleveland, 10-7 Cleveland, as we all know. Surprisingly, Quinshon Judkins is a long touchdown run, called back to a holding call. He would have been over 100 yards with a touchdown. Still 8 for 51, but they kind of scripted him out. They started throwing a little bit more. Of course, if you went with the Minnesota side, everybody called Cam Akers throwing a touchdown at Josh Oliver, not helping a whole lot of people. Maybe it helps somebody in the deeper league, but otherwise, Jordan Mason, 6 for 17. We kind of knew he'd struggle here. Popular bet was him under because Cleveland's defense nasty. 3 offensive linemen out. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 38. Hopefully he can double that in the second half. Carson Wentz went to the medical tent. Young man shouldn't be running, not with not much of a backup. Max Brosmer, we could see him. Dylan Gabriel, fairly efficient. Tough defense, not a bad start for him. Did get the touchdown pass to Harold Fannin early on. So nice there. All right, let's get to the questions here. Got a couple super chat. We'll start with those. We got Thomas. Would I drop Pacheco and get Kendre Miller? So interesting. I mean, right now, Pacheco, last week for the first time all year, he actually looked explosive. He did get phased out because Hunt is the closer and they blew out the Ravens. There's a small chance Pacheco's role increases, but Brashard Smith's going to be the receiving back, I think, more and more and more. Miller obviously is a speculative play. Who knows if they'll trade Kamara? If they do, you hit the jackpot. If Kamara misses time, you probably hit the jackpot because Miller looks good. And Miller has a coach who doesn't hate him. So you totally could make that work. Pacheco right now has flex value. Kendre Miller probably doesn't have that right now, but you're just banking on Kamara being gone or missing time. Those are probably what you're looking at. So if you need some viability during the bye weeks, you got to keep Pacheco for now, I would think. Because I know Miller had a couple, decent runs, but you can't count on 5 carries. And then I know some weeks Pacheco hasn't gotten more than that. And then your other one is need a running back and a flex. Tet McMillan, Dobbins, and Woody Marks. So McMillan has finally a really, really easy matchup against Miami. And I have him ranked higher than I've ranked him all year. I've met wide receiver 18 of the remaining receivers. My board takes off everybody who's played already, including Sunday morning games. So he's a strong play this week, even with his terrible quarterback. And, Miami has a pass rush, but the tackle play is decent for Carolina. The interior line's a mess. So McMillan's fine here. Dobbins against Philly, they rotate too much. They don't commit to the run enough. Last week, they got him the 100 yards. They made sure he got that. But it's dicey. Woody Marks, Marks is interesting because his snap share has gone up each week. The touches went exponentially up, and he went off last week. And there's still a chance that this matchup against Baltimore could be the power running up the middle. You could have that all day long against Baltimore. So, and that's not maybe a Nick Chubb truther, but this is probably the script where Chubb could shred them up the middle. And I don't know if they see Marks as a between the tackle banger. So, but Marks has great upside because that Baltimore defense is all kind of beat up. So I think this, you play McMillan. I think of the two, super safe floor would be Dobbins. But Marks has a similar floor, and I think he has more upside here. So I would take the chance of Marks because this is a game I would think Houston, they're not going to see much of a pass rush. The line's not going to be an issue here. And that's the way I'd go. And then we got Randy in the house. All right, Randy, good to see you. Rank these running backs long-term bench stashes. Kendre Miller, Ollie Gordon, Brashard Smith, Sean Tucker, Keaton Mitchell. We're assuming PPR here, hopefully correctly. And based on that, right now I would put Brashard Smith first. I called this kind of earlier in the preseason. Andy Reid running backs and receivers who are rookies, it takes time. There's a lot of nuance in their offensive playbook, and rookies take a while to get ramped up. We even saw it last year with Worthy. They switched his role, but that's here, there. So I do think Brashard Smith is going to be like the Jerick McKinnon role as it goes on. So he has your big value as the season goes on. And then second, really it's probably Ollie Gordon because the offensive line's bad, but they keep working Achane pretty heavily. So I would think the chance of running backs missing time, Achane probably tops the list. I hope he stays healthy. And then next it'd be Kendre Miller because, again, we don't know if Kamara gets moved. we don't think they'll phase him out. They paid him 2 years. They knew they were bad. And then last it would be like Sean Tucker, then Keaton Mitchell. They're going to activate Mitchell today, but again, I still think that's the way it's going to work out. I just think that Mitchell's probably not going to get the role we want him to get. All right, we'll go to the other questions we have in the queue here. Morning, Max. Appreciate all the support. I know you always listen to the shows and read the stuff, so thank you, Max. It means a lot to me. All right, and you listen to Mario and me on say that Saturday show is fun. 12 teams standard: McMillan, Myers, Olave. With Brock Bowers expected to be out, that was per Schefter yesterday. We broke that when Schefter broke it on the Sirius show. Myers does now have a more likely floor, and I know it hasn't been great, but McMillan has a really easy matchup. And sometimes you want to bet on the talented player here, and I think McMillan could actually. And I know he had a 100-yard game; it was like 6 for 100, maybe week 2. But I think McMillan has a chance to have his real breakout game here. So I would be inclined to play McMillan. I think all 3 of these guys get targets, but I think McMillan is more likely to have that signature game that he hasn't had yet. Whereas Myers, it's been a little bit of a struggle with Geno the last 2 weeks. So I think maybe that's kind of the way we're going to roll. I just go with Tet and say, I've been down on him a lot, but this week I am not down on Tet McMillan. Julianne, good morning. Chase or Myers? I do like Chase this week. Both 2 of the 3 corners, DJ Reed's down, Terry and Arnold's down for Detroit. And this is the week. And I know that Detroit has a good pass rush, and I know they got good safeties. But I think this is a week where Chase can make something out of nothing on a couple of plays because the cornerback injuries for Detroit are an issue. Detroit is likely to have a big lead, and I think Chase is going to get enough targets. And again, we want to get cute sometimes, and I understand it. But I think we go with Chase here because we know he's going to get targets, and I really think this matchup, he can make something happen. Brian Upton, good morning to you. Half PPR, Tyjae Spears or Amari DiMercato. It is one of those 50-50 ones, right? But I do remember last year when Pollard was playing way too much when Spears was hurt. And as soon as Spears came back, they really cut down Pollard's workload, to keep him fresh because the guy's been playing 80-90% of snaps in games. So I think Spears has a real role immediately with pass catching. DiMercato, we keep hearing it's a hot hand thing. He's the receiving back. But how much are they really going to be any urgency mode today? And my answer is against Tennessee, they're probably not in urgency mode. So I think Tyjae Spears is probably going to have a more sustained workload. DiMercato, you're always praying for a touchdown, right, with any of these guys. I do think Spears has the edge here. They put him on IR, they let him get well, and I think he's going to be as healthy as he's going to be. I think that's the way we go there. Kevin, morning to you as well. You need one from these in a PPR: Chase Brown, DiMercato, Chris Rodriguez, Justice Hill. If Lamar was the quarterback, I would say Justice Hill right away. I really don't know that Cooper Rush is going to have that same connection and timing with Hill out of the backfield. And so, I mean, it's an interesting one. But because I can't quantify that, I'm kind of leaning away. I am actually – Chase Brown's a death matchup, but here's the thing. If the double-digit line, if you're like me and you believe Detroit, who loves to run up the score, if Detroit gets out to this double-digit lead and they want to take care of business, that means since he's going to be in like drop back and pass mode. And that means Chase Brown probably catches 5 passes. That alone puts him in PPR ahead of the other guys. And he did do decent with yards. Did he have like 70 combined yards last week? So it was decent. And, Brown does have a chance to score too. So I think if there's a week, and I know the run part of the matchup is tough, I think it's the receiving part that's going to make him okay in this one. Delegizi, good morning to you as well. You need to sit one. Big Dog, Genty, Dowdle, or Debo. Wow, that's a good problem to have. My expectation is Houston can be run on. They're a very good pass defense. They have an amazing pass rush, and they don't want Cooper Rush. I have to think Baltimore is going to load up the personnel. Baltimore is going to try to run the football, and they're going to run as much and as often as they can to keep this game close, if not a lead. This is like the Tennessee version of Derrick Henry. Just run, run, run. I think they have to do that. So Henry, I got to trust. And so I think of all these. Look, Debo, I doubt it's a real heel injury. I think They're leaning on an older player a lot. They gave him 2 practices off. I knew they'd clear him. I have to assume he's healthy. And Debo, this is a good matchup for Debo. And between Genti and Dowdle, look, Genti, the line isn't helping him. Colton Miller's out, but last week they played the Bears and they will take advantage. Indy's a good defense, but I think Genti can keep rolling a bit. I'm going to play the better player because you'd kick yourself if Genti had another game and Dowdle, just kind of did whatever. So I think you got to play your 3 best players here because there's nothing worrisome about their matchup. I know Henry hasn't been great, but you have to think they're going to run the ball. So I love Dowdle, love him today, but I think that he's the one you got to set. I got him at 19 with upside. You see, I very aggressively ranked, but he's a good player. I just think you got to sit him for that. All right, see what else we got here. We got Kevin again. You need 1.5 PPR, BTJ, Higgins, or Pittman. I got to go Pittman here. Look, Brian Thomas Jr., I think with the rushing yards, I think he eked out. Well, not even half PPR. He doesn't have a double-digit game. He didn't even have that for you. T. Higgins, it's interesting. I think Higgins has the upside here. I think he's the upside play because you heard me say about Detroit earlier. Both corners are down. Since he's going to have to throw, this could work out. But he's risky. Whereas Pittman, to me, there's no Alec Pierce. Adonai Mitchell's supposed to have a reduced role. They're ticked at him because he screwed up twice. Holding call cost him a touchdown, fumbled the ball through the end zone. They're ticked at him. So I think you could see this is a game where Pittman gets 8 targets. Pittman's safe, and he has reasonable ceiling. I prefer that. Higgins is your swing for defense play because I do think against Detroit in a shootout, I think we could see some fireworks. So there's that. Ethan. Oh, I got another super chat. Sorry, Ethan, I'll get back to you here. Scott's in the house. Prescott or May? May is like the quarterback 3. You look at his schedule. Good Lord, has he had an easy schedule? Top, was it Carolina, Las Vegas? It was like 4 easy defenses. So, and May's good. No shade on May. Dak, on the other hand, I was at Dak I think Dak in the 2 home games went off, but we got to cut Dak slack for week 1 against Philly because he was doing fine until that weather delay. And then CD dropped a bunch of passes. Dak's been super nuclear. And the Jets, look, Sauce Gardner's not playing like the Sauce Gardner we've seen in the past. And the pass rush is okay. Dallas is going to be down maybe 4 linemen. That gets me nervous. Drake May, Buffalo's not the worst matchup, but they're much better against the pass and the run. I'd be inclined to play Prescott here. It's close enough where May probably runs for 30 yards here, and that really gives him a little bit of a shot here. But I think Dallas is going to get their points against the Jets. It could be a weird game. May have a safer floor, but I think Prescott has more reliable ceiling here. This is going to be a real test for May this week. Hold on. Turns out that Bucky Irving shoulder injury, which he didn't report, there was something I'll have to find out what this is. I'll check that in a minute. Well, it won't be important for today. Bucky Irving's out, but Adam Schefter was talking about a shoulder injury as well, which he had last week. All right, let's get back to the line questions here, and we were on Ethan. You need 2 from the waiver crew. Malik Washington, Christian Kirk, Kendre Miller, DeMercado, Carter, Ingram. You know what? Kirk's getting targets. Nothing worrisome about the matchup this week. The Ravens are all kinds of beat up. I do think each week Kirk's going to get more chemistry with CJ Stroud. So I think Kirk is a fine player in PPR here. I would hope he gets 4 catches for you in this game. And then second one, man, you hate to go the Ingram route because Ingram has really not been great, but Philly's safeties, it's a bit of an issue. And so I think that I would take a whirl on Ingram in this one. We really don't know how that Arizona backfield is going to shake out. Kendrick's going to get his 5 touches, but we'll see how that goes. And Malik Washington, they want to run the ball. So I think on the running downs, you're going to see more Westbrook Akine because he can block, and Washington really can't. And I think this offense has to be reconfigured a bit. So I would go Ingram and Kirk in this one. Brown or Pittman. All I'll say is this. Pittman is way safer. A.J. Brown has 1/2 that he's done anything reliable for fantasy. I can't count on that coaching staff fixing it. And I know he's a squeaky wheel. So look, Patrick Surtain, he's been beat this year. Cornerback play isn't sticky year to year. It's kind of funny how that works. He's still a great player, but he hasn't looked like the Patrick Surtain shutting people down. And A.J. Brown could bully him anyway. So look, if you're willing to risk a 3 for the fact they might go to Brown and he goes for 120 and 2 touchdowns, yeah, he could do that. Pittman can't do that. So Brown is right now, he's a boom bust play. And I think your 4 weeks, you can't view him as anything otherwise. Pittman is way safer, good floor, decent ceiling. So if that's what, you got to weigh it that way. But Brown is like the ultimate boom bust right now. Delroy, full PPR start 2. JSN, Slayton, Malik. You cannot sit JSN ever. Even last week when it didn't go on, even in the fourth quarter, he put up enough points. Outside of that, I don't know how much Jackson Dart has to pass, but he did throw to Slayton for 4 times last week, and they connected up a bit. Slayton's a good player. I would tend to give Slayton the edge. I like Io Manor. Malik Washington's going to have his bit of a role in this thing, but I think Slayton's going to be a full-time player here. The New Orleans defense has not been very, very good against the pass. Those corners can be beat fairly easily. So I'd give Slayton the edge here. Delroy, full PPR, flex, start 1. Franklin, Kirk, Wandale. So with a week to game plan with no Malik Neighbors, I think Wandale is their number 1 in terms of target share because Slayton's more the intermediate downfield and Robbins is going to be more of the short intermediate guy. So I think that means the most targets. So I think he is the player with the best floor, and he has ceiling potential. I know he wanted that Dallas game again, but this isn't a bad matchup for Wandale either. They're going to throw for something. Kirk is just floor right now. I don't know that there's a ceiling yet. And Franklin, week to week, we're not really sure what his role is. It's been vacillating a little too much, but I think Wandale has to be a big part of their game plan now with Malik. So I'd go with Wandale. All right, Delroy, you got Coleman, Kirk, or Shepard. I'd go with Kirk here. Coleman's your boom bust play because Coleman in week 1 is great. They really haven't need to go to him. They get leads and they run the ball and they spread out the few pass attempts they have. Coleman, in theory, could do really well here, but the game would have to shoot out, and I don't want to bank on it. I think Kirk is the best floor, but if you need a pure ceiling play and then they decide to go to Coleman, yeah, Coleman could go off here. So I think Coleman is the risk ceiling play, but Kirk is the better floor. And Sterling Shepard, again, is just too difficult to project targets to him. And I think Godwin's going to get better each week as he's back. John, you need a running back and 2 flex. Monty, Worthy, Abuka, Dowdle, and McMillan. Monty was bad last week. We predicted that. We said Monty will not be able to run against that Cleveland defense, and he couldn't. This week, it's different. Both Monty and Gibbs should go off. Love Monty this week. Worthy, after what we saw last week, I don't know that we could sit him. I don't think there's any scenario. They're obviously getting him heavily involved. Can't sit him right now. And of the other ones, Abuka gets it done somehow every week. It's like low targets, but he gets it done. I think of these 3, Dowdle has the best floor because Carolina, Miami should be a close game, and they should be able to stick with the running back for much of the game. And Dowdle's very good. Dowdle has the best floor of this group. And honestly, he probably has the best probability of the 3 of scoring a touchdown because of the goal line potential. So really hard to sit any of those players because you got a great spot here, but I'd be inclined to play Dowdle here. Volume's king in fantasy football, and he'll get that, and he's proven he can play with that. Wentz is playing with a shoulder harness. Well, that's not good. John, you need, and then you're back to half PPR. You need 2. Oh, how many do you need? Oh, you need, 1 and 2 flex. You need 3. Yeah, so we got that set. We were set there. And this is wide receiver in a flex. Abuka, McMillan, Brown, and Marks. McMillan's in here. McMillan, I like the best of the rest because I do think Miami has very little cornerback ability. So that's a really great spot for McMillan. It's between Marks and Abuka for me. Abuka, I think, is safer. Again, with Marks, I'm only a slight bit worried that you could power run on Baltimore. And if you power run, that might be that one final Nick Chubb game where he's actually able to do something. Marks is going to be the guy here, but this is just that matchup where they can't stop any power running inside. Excuse me. So Marks is your ceiling play though. Marks has a bigger ceiling than Ibuka. Ibuka broke the big play last week, worked out fortunately, but so that'd be McMillan for sure, Ibuka for floor, Marks for ceiling. I'm gonna mute for a second because I got a cough. All right, back at Jay, good morning to you as well. You got 4 players on the IR, 3 on the bye. I know week 5's been rough for a lot of us for sure. PPR, you need 2 flex and a running back. Brown, Coleman, Io Manor, Miller, and Michael Carter. So based on this group, and you heard me talk earlier, I do think Chase Brown's viable here. He's going to catch pass. I assume they get blown out. If they do, he'll catch 5 passes. I think that helps you in PPR. So he's going to be in, and you need 2 more of these guys. I think of this group, you heard me throw a little shade on Coleman because of his role. I do think in this group, I think that even a few catches puts him ahead of the group with ceiling for more. And then the last one, I almost want to say Io Manor is probably your best shot. Tennessee finally has a game I think they could be competitive in, and that's important. The fact they might be able to compete. And so I think Io Manor could see a role. And Ridley's going to be limited here either. But there's nothing in the cornerback room that scares me in this matchup. So I would go with Io Manor there. Unite Santini, Mayfield, or Dart. The worst analysis I give all year is Baker Mayfield because I love the guy because he makes plays, but that's terrible analysis. He always finds a way to make plays. Last week, it was 2 lucky touchdowns. The Ibuka one was lucky, the Bucky Irving touchdown, but that's Baker Mayfield. It doesn't matter. He gets it done. At some point, yeah, it's luck, but it doesn't matter because Mayfield finds something every week that he's able to do. So that makes him really hard to sit. On the other hand, here's the thing with Dart this week. I think this game is close. I think this game is low scoring. I don't think they have to put it on his shoulders where he has to just take off and run. And now there's a little film that Dart just wants to run. And so I think that even in one week, a little bit of film, it could be taken away. I think Mayfield has been too dependable to sit. And I keep him ranked, quarterback 8 this week. It's a tough matchup, but it doesn't really matter because he finds a way every week. And at some point, the narrative works. All right, Jay, you need a running back until Benson comes back, Miller or Michael Carter. I would tend to say Michael Carter because I do think for this time frame, he's going to be involved. He's going to be very involved. You don't know every week what his role. Kendre Miller, it's going to be this thing where Kamara's the guy and Miller gets a few carries. But if he doesn't make the most of those, Carter has a chance to do a little more. So, because if Carter plays well, that role is up in the air. He could seize it. But Kendre Miller, unless you're banking on a Kamara trade, and there's no reason to think Kamara is getting traded right now. So I would go Michael Carter there, although Kendre Miller is a much better player. But I just think that right now, you're better off knowing that Carter has a chance. Is that Jordan Mason got a nice little run? Yeah, so the Vikings are threatening to score here early in the third quarter, 10-7 Cleveland. Ricardo, Juwan Johnson or Dalton Kincaid? So Juwan Johnson is some type of an ankle injury. I don't know how serious it is. They kept him on the injury report, which I wish they would have removed him. They didn't. Kincaid's not getting a boatload of targets, but he's been productive each week. Right now, it's kind of hard to sit Kincaid because he is playing well with the targets he's getting. And this is the week where I don't know that Spencer Rattler has to throw the ball 40 times. I think this is going to be a big running game. And because of that, I think that it's going to be difficult to trust the receiving weapons for New Orleans. So I'd give Kincaid the world. Flex, Jamison Williams or Chase. So it looks like 1. You know what? Chase, I'm going with Chase because I said earlier, those Detroit's down with 2 of their top corners, and I think they're going to trail. I think there's a week where Chase can make a big play or 2 out of nothing. I do love JMO for ceiling this week, but Chase, it's going to be too hard to set him. Quarterback, Jones or May. Said earlier, May has had a ridiculously easy schedule this year. He finally gets a matchup that's somewhat challenging. Jordan Mason in for the touchdown. Minnesota, pending the extra point, would go up 14-10. See how that one shakes out here. So Daniel Jones, we said May is a tougher matchup. Daniel Jones is at home. Maybe that means something because in the 2 home games he did great. The 2 road games weren't quite as good. Now last week he had that flub by Adonai Mitchell, the fumble that should have been a touchdown. Daniel Jones playing a pretty high level right now. Drake May can run. I have them close in my rankings, 9 and 12, which means they're a whisker apart. I think overall, I think the Colts have a chance of scoring more points, but does that mean more Jonathan Taylor? So that's where the rub comes in. I would be inclined to give May a slight edge here because he's going to run for something. And there is a chance Buffalo gets a big lead and then May can get some garbage time. So I'd be more inclined to go that way. Ricardo, sit or start flex. So I would expect, maybe I'm wrong here, that Waddle, it has to get more targets with Tyreek Hill. You would think, how does he not get 7 targets in this game against a bad Carolina team? And he may move him over the field. So it's not like it's going to be, horn on him a whole game. That's not going to happen. So A.J. Brown's your ceiling play. We talked about it earlier. He's been horrible other than one half when they were getting blown out. And I know the squeaky wheel thing, but we have nothing to go on that they're going to feed Brown with targets in this game. So Waddle is your floor play. But if you're willing to risk another 2 for 7, but knowing you can get 130 and a touchdown, A.J. Brown has that ceiling. So, but if you're just looking at the player and you're taking the production and not the player, it's really hard to play Brown right now. Brian, Cooper Rusher, Zach Charbonnet. Wow. You know what? If Charbonnet didn't have a brutal matchup against Tampa, I would consider him. I have to consider Cooper Rush in this one just because he's a quarterback and Charbonnet doesn't have a good matchup. That's the reason. Charbonnet could get out of this thing with 15 yards because Tampa has been lights out against the run. Delroy, full PPR, start 1. Ridley, who's going to be limited in this one. That injury sounds like it's legit. Manor, Slayton, and Franklin. Ridley hasn't done anything, and he's like clearly not 100% there. The talk is that they have to monitor him. They have to check him pregame, see all that good stuff, how he's shaking out with that. Slayton, I do think has a decent role here. I think he's going to see a few targets, which is going to be helpful. Franklin may have the best floor of this group right now. The cornerback 2 is an issue for the Eagles, and you can attack them. Cowboys are expected to be without all 4 of their 5 starting linemen today. Yeah, 4. We knew that the one that was playing that didn't practice all week, they're all Tylers. Tyler. The one who wasn't ruled out missed the whole week of practice. So that's a rough one for Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams is the rough one for him. No, we'll see how that shakes out. But back to you, Delroy. I think Franklin has the better floor here, and I would trust him because we've already seen he can have a ceiling game as well. Got a super chat. I'll go back to Unite. Foxborough News, Kirk or Tootin? I do like Kirk here. He's getting targets. Each week he'll get a little more chemistry with his quarterback. There shouldn't be much of a pass rush from the Ravens. They really don't have one. They're really banged up on defense. Tootin is getting very, very limited touches, and that's a bit of a problem. And unless he scores a touchdown, it's really difficult. So I think that right now you say Kirk should get you a few catches, and there is upside for you a little bit more. All right, let me see where the next question is. These all jump all over the board for me here. All right, let me see here. Oh, we got the Judkins back going, another flag on the field. I have to find where the questions are now. They jump all over when I click off here. All right, let's see what I got here. I definitely haven't gotten to that one yet. This is going to take me a second to find where it dumps up. Yeah, I love the super chat. I appreciate everything. I want you to keep doing that. But it's funny, whenever I click over, it's like lose them. All right. Unite Santini, who will save you this week? Carter, Harvey, or Henderson? Harvey, they included him last week. He looked good. I don't know that his role goes right back to where it was. Philly is not a great matchup for him. Henderson, just not enough consistent volume. And Michael Carter is a real unknown. Since they're all 3 in kind of unknown, sketchier roles, I would tend to give Harvey a little bit of the edge here because in 2 of the 4 games, he's at least put up yardage, and he did show the coaching staff reason to keep him going. So I think I would tend to give him a shot. Judkins breaking another outside run for 14 yards. Dude's a superstar. Wow, I just coming in. He's had some tough matchups, and he really is a good football player. Delroy Prescott or Jaden Daniels. You know what? I don't think you overthink this one. I think you got Jaden Daniels. Look, they kept him out until he was healthy. And my assumption is I don't think he could play without running. And I don't think he would play without running. So I think Jaden Daniels is going to get his running, and I think that's really hard to sit him down. Prescott's playing great, but I could see that Dallas and Jets game being lower scoring. I could see that happening, but I could see both teams being good with that. I'd give Daniels that game. There's a great chance that game with the Chargers shoots out, and Judkins moves the chains. All right. Dude is next. Half PPR, 2 running backs, 2 receivers. Scadaboo, Pollard, Marks, and Pollard. You mentioned Pollard twice. All right. And so Scadaboo's in. He's going to get massive volume. So there's no doubt there. And Pollard's going to probably see a snap share dwindle here because Spears is back, and they've overworked him for 4 weeks. They don't want him to have that level of workload. So I would go with Scadaboo and Marks there as 2 running backs. And then you got JSN, Nico, Jamar, and Olave. JSN has to be an auto start. He's one of the only reliable wide receivers in fantasy this year. So I think you have to go with him. And see what else we got here. And then, you know what? I like I said, I do love Jamar. I do think his matchup's great, but Nico Collins is a great matchup here too. Baltimore is all kinds of banged up. I would go with JSN and Nico. You're always going to kick yourself if Jamar goes off on the bench, but Nico has a matchup, and Nico has a quarterback who will get him the ball, and there's not much of a pass rush. That's the way I would go. Thomas full PPR, Higgins or Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, we saw he was able to put together a good PPR floor game last week. Obviously, he has very little left in the tank. Tampa matchup is not great. Bowers is officially inactive. He's considered week to week. So don't be surprised. Yeah, Bowers misses additional time right now. I'm going to have to getting to the inactives here in a second and check this out for everyone while we're at it. Let's see what we got here. Bucky Irving is expected to miss at least 2 weeks. The shoulder subluxation is more of an issue than the sprained foot. So we'll see what goes on with him. Now, that report from Adam Schefter, I don't know if that means 2 more weeks after this or if that means this week and next week. But nonetheless, expect to be without Bucky Irving for a bit of time. Amari DiMercato will stay in the same role in week 5 against the Titans, which basically means a few early down carries, but not the lead, but definitely Kyle Hamilton and Ronnie Stanley are inactive for Baltimore. Ouch. Oh, Cooper Rush is in trouble here. But Henry's going to run a lot, I think. Anyway, DiMercato, again, he'll be the passing down back. I don't know how much passing down work they need, so there's that. And right now, that's all I have. Nothing. Taylor Decker, we had saw on. Judkins catches a screen, goes about 20 yards. Taylor Decker is doubtful. Left tackle for the Lions against the Bengals. We heard that a couple hours ago, an hour or so ago, but they'll still be fine. All right, let's get back to some questions here. And we're on Thomas. So I'm going to go with T. Higgins here. I think that T. Higgins, at least the corners banged up for Detroit. They're going to trail. This is a week where they can actually get a little bit done. Got the allergy going. Apologize about this. It's all right, here we go. And, Ladd McConkey or Chris Godwin. Godwin still has rust, and he had rust last week. I can't assume he's shaking the rust off this week. So I think you go with McConkey and just hope that they finally get him on track a bit. Delegues, you have Waller, but with Fannin finally getting points, you have a tough decision and need to drop one. Waller, Fannin, Ali. So I would probably drop Ali. Ali Gordon is completely dependent upon an injury to HN to have any real fantasy value. And if that's what we're banking on, the injury, if it happens ever, probably won't be this week. If probability says it's healthy now, it makes it this week. So you can always get Gordon later if you needed him back. I would drop Gordon for now. All right. Next we got Brian. Need 2. Pollard, Dobbins, DiMercato, Dowdle. I would go with Dowdle and Dobbins here. DeMarcado is going to be in a split role. Pollard, again, I expect that his work will be scaled back because Spears is back, and they have significantly overworked Pollard to this point. So Dobbins is going to have a baseline. Dowdle is going to have a full role here. It looks like maybe a little Trevor Etienne, probably not a whole lot. Ricardo, Juwan Johnson, or Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, you had that. Maybe you asked that question earlier. I answered it already. I answered Kincaid for somebody, and I answered Chase. So I think we're good. Rahendra, good morning to you as well. Quinshon Judkins does not move the chains. 4th and 1. Full point PPR, one of these. Chase Brown, Waddle, or Brian Thomas Jr. My belief would be that Miami has no choice but to give Waddle targets with no Tyreek Hill. I would have to think it's 7 or 8 targets. But I have to think. So based on that, I would think Waddle would have the best floor of this group. None of these players has shown real ceiling ability, but Waddle's already had some good games. So I would go with Waddle there and keep rolling, thinking the role has to increase. Cleveland Browns on the 11th, 4th and 1, and they're going for it. I got to see this play. Handoff on the interior, and first out, Quinshon Judkins. All right, Chris. Sorry about the coughing. I'm dealing with a bit of congestion since last week. All right. Half PPR, you have Bowers. Who would I pick up to replace? Goddard, Andrews, Strange, or Juwan Johnson? So Juwan Johnson's playing through apparently an ankle injury. I have no idea the severity. They did not take him off the injury report. Goddard's been living on minimal targets, but cashing in heavily on those. Andrews doesn't have he's a downfield guy. I don't know if Cooper Rush can unlock that a whole lot. And Brenton Strange is certainly a floor play that's viable. Right now, I guess I'd say Goddard's been running hot. And I would roll with it while it's going. I would just roll with it going. But the safest play of this group might be Strange. But again, Goddard's rolling, and with a tight end, sometimes that's enough. Chris, McConkey, or Wandale. Again, I do like Wandale in this role, but I think this could be a low-scoring, conservative game where Kamara and Scadaboo run a lot. I think McConkey's going to be in a shootout, and I do think I would go with McConkey here, and not, the production hasn't been good, but he runs lots of routes, and I just think there's a matchup where he will get his. So I would go with McConkey, and I understand the question. It's a great question. 3rd and goal for the Browns, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. It's funny. I always hate betting unders, and I recommended 2 unders. Like, this is one of them. Got it at 36.5, and don't even know if that's going to cash or not. But the funny thing about it is the unders are terrible because the Cam Akers touchdown pass to Josh Oliver, didn't see that one coming. And the Browns, going right down the field in the first drive. So that's the thing. Unders are always tough. Any little thing throws it off. The over, it seems like you are always in play. But it's good. Sarah, appreciate you so much listening to these shows throughout the week, and thank you for listening to that XM show. Means everybody, next week, touchdown to David Njoku. So the Browns go up 17-14, 2 touchdowns for Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, everybody, next Sunday, Alan Soslowski are going on the 1-hour Sunday show, 9 to 10 Eastern next Sunday. Jeff Ratcliffe's out, so I guess it looks like Al and I are the subs for that one. So we'll be in next week on there as well as this one. Thank you, Sarah. All right, what do you got here? Waller or Andrews? I do have to go Waller. Waller is on record saying, as long as the coaches want, I'm ready to take on a bigger snap share. And I think they don't have a choice. So I think they need him with no Tyreek. So I think you're not getting the 2 touchdowns. But Andrews, like I said, with no Lamar Jackson, that's a hit. That's a real big hit to him. So I would go with Waller here. I think we're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry in this game, as long as it's in shouting range. Chris, 6-point passing TD, Dak or Drake May? I'm going to go with Dak here. Drake May has had an incredibly easy schedule. No knock. Maybe he's going to be great against a tougher schedule. Buffalo's good against the pass. Actually, some of the ranks are number 1. I think it's more they give up the run. Neither here nor there. I think the pass rush of Buffalo, if May has a pass, could be a bit more problem. Dak could be in a lower scoring game. But, man, Dak's playing at a really, really high level right now. So I would tend to bet on Dak, who's just playing so well. But it's a coin flip. But I will say, Chris, it's a coin flip because if that Dallas game ends up surprising us going 14-10, then Dak's not going to get a whole lot for fantasy. May probably as a safer floor because he probably runs for 30 yards in this one, so his floor is probably safer. So there's that. John Miller or Kupp. Miller is going to get his few carries. Kupp's going to get a few receptions. If you're in a PPR, I give Kupp the slight edge because he probably scores a better baseline of like 5 or 6 points. If you're in half PPR or standard, I'm going to go Kendre Miller because I think the 5 or 6 carries against the Giants might be enough. Giants have a good defensive line, but they're not good against the run. They're good at their pass rushing unit. So I think on those few carries, Miller might be the way to go. Let's just check any inactives here. Make sure we get everybody set up. They're saying Texans, nothing in note. Miami, nothing of note. Philly, nothing of note. Miles Sanders is inactive. Jadon Blue is going to make his first career start today. Maybe worth a speculative ad. They haven't activated him because apparently the coaches don't believe he's ready for prime time. But if he gets a few carries and he does something with them, the coaches may be compelled to give him a chance. So I think if Jadon Blue is on your waiver wire and you got a roster spot to burn late, it would be worth taking a look. It's not going to be easy with 4 offensive starting linemen out. That's going to be a problem for them. Said earlier, Kyle Hamilton out, Nico Collins, big game coming in for him today. I bet Nico for 100 and a touchdown, laddered those up. Derrick Henry for 100, 3-player prop. I think it was like $10 parlay and like 120 if it hits. It might be 190 if it hit. I think it might have been 190 because I laddered them up. Broncos, nothing special here. Brock Bowers, who said earlier, going to probably miss multiple, considered week to week already. But that, they're saying that probably not playing next week either. So make your plans ahead of time for that. All right, see what we got going here. Jamie, start 2. Kyler, Goff, Daniel Jones. Love Goff this week because he's had 3 clunkers, but he had 1 5-touchdown game. But Detroit likes to rub it in on teams. They don't take their foot off the gas. So I think everybody eats for the Lions today against Cincinnati. So I do trust Goff in this one. Between Kyler and Jones, I have Kyler at quarterback 11. Look at my 10, 11, and 12. Those are the 3 in a row on my board. But between Kyler and Jones, who are, again, they're a whisker apart at 11 and 12, they're both at home. They both have nice matchups. I think Murray's a little bit better of a play because I think the probability of touchdowns coming on passes in that game are higher than, like, Jonathan Taylor could score 2 or 3 touchdowns there, and that could limit the upside for Jones. So it's, as you see, it's a coin flip because I have him 10, 11, 12. Goff, and I would go Murray by an eyelash, but if you have an inkling on Daniel Jones, Jones has been better at home than on the road. So there's that you got playing in. Oh, big sack there. All right. See what we got next. Joshua, Texans or Colts defense. You know what? How do you not go to Texans right now? Ronnie Stanley's out. Cooper Rush is at quarterback. This is an amazing defense. They're going to get sacks. Cooper Rush, don't be surprised if he fumbles the ball. Don't be surprised they force a pick 6. Don't be surprised on that either. I have to say your Texans are your upside play here. And I got to go back into some lineups later because I've got a big problem where I've got like Detroit defense and the Texans. And I don't know, with Ronnie Stanley, that almost like flips because I've been having Detroit in mind because they're playing the Bengals. But I'm going to switch those out. Jim Coop, depleted by buys. I understand. I'm with you on that one. PPR, receiver and a flex. Marks, Pollard, Smith, Schuster, Brashard Smith, and Tolbert. I would go, and look, Woody Marks, I'd give him a shot here. I do think this could be one last hurrah for Nick Chubb because you can run inside with power against Baltimore, but I think both backs can be involved here. I'd roll with Marks, hot hand. And of the rest of this group, I think Pollard has the most sustained role, and it's not a bad match. I think his workload gets cut because of Spears being back, but I think Pollard gets enough done to be your second play here. Delroy, Goff or Mayfield? So I have Mayfield 2 spots higher. You've heard me talk about Goff. I think Goff has upside through the roof because that's the way that Detroit does it when they have an inferior opponent. So I do think you strongly got to consider Goff. I think Mayfield is safe for always because Goff has had 3 bad fantasy games. And if there is a weird week where they just run and they decide they're not going to go and, because they throw in their head, if they choose not to do that this week, then all of a sudden Goff has another garbage game for you. But Goff has stratospheric upside this week. So if you're playing for that, you go there. Otherwise, Mayfield is always going to get you something. He's going to run for his 30 yards. He's going to get 2 crazy touchdowns you didn't see coming. So Mayfield's safer, but Goff has exponential upside. Taysom Hill is active as expected. They say he's going to have a role. Stunned. He's like 35 years old, coming off a late season ACL. I didn't think there was a world where he'd be involved this year. And I don't know what his role will be, but I know in a super, super deep league I'm in, I did add him to a roster as a bench spot to see what's going on. Don't know what his role is going to be, but you always know this guy, they have him do all kinds of crazy stuff. Goal line runner, throw the ball, catch the ball. So deep league shot. Joe, what do you got here? DeMarcado, Pollard, or Charbonnet? I'm going with Pollard. You heard me talk about him a minute ago. Same reason. Charbonnet has a death matchup, whereas DeMarcado, I don't know what his workload's going to be, but it's a much easier matchup. And I love Charbonnet most weeks, but Tampa's been like brutal against interior runners, and that's what Charbonnet is. So I would sit Charbonnet for that reason. Most other weeks would be an easy Charbonnet call, but man, Vita Vea and that crew has been devastating. Intrepid, hello to you. First bye week blues. Yes, it didn't take us long. Week 5, and we're all in trouble. I'm with you on that one. All right. Miller, Gordon, Isaiah Davis. Yeah. I like Isaiah Davis here. It seems to me that Coach Glenn is very adamant on getting a second running back heavily involved here. Double-digit carries are close to it. I know Braylon didn't have it every week, but it was getting close to that, right? So I definitely think you're going to take the look there. I got to see Carson Wentz getting chased, Carson Wentz getting hit, Carson Wentz getting dropped. Oh, man, Cleveland 17-14. This is fun. I love this defense. All right, so I'm going to go with Isaiah Davis here. I think he gets the most work out of these 3. The Dallas linebackers are brutal. The offensive line for the Jets is good. I think they get him to the second level. Davis is a talented player. Mario Puig and myself, both at RotoWire, we both believe that Davis is a much better running back than Braylon Allen is. I know that coaches, for whatever reason, don't believe in that, but Davis is talented. I'd go with him here. Waller or Mason Taylor? Field stack. Mason Taylor stepped up in a nice game last week. It was very nice to see his matchup. There's nothing scary about it. Waller didn't play many snaps, but he did say he's willing to get the snaps ramped up this week. I have to think the Dolphins need Waller much more than the Jets need Taylor. And excuse me, I had a cough for a second. Thank you for that. All right. So I just think Miami needs Waller more than Taylor is needed in this game, because I think this game is not going to be one where they're chasing a lot of points. I think it's going to be fairly close. I would give Waller the slight edge, even though, again, I do like Taylor. We have Fabian had a super chat question, Juwan Johnson or Waller. And on this one, even though he has an ankle injury, I'm going to give Juwan Johnson a slight edge here. He plays most of the snaps. They may not throw a ton, but he has a chance of scoring a touchdown. Waller is close. Just because Juwan Johnson's a little more established and Waller does 2 touchdowns, a little bit fluky maybe. Your receivers, Quentin Johnson, Cortland Sutton, or Woody Marks. I have Quentin Johnston as my wide receiver 8 of the remaining receivers. He has not have less than 71 yards in any game. There is nothing problematic with the matchup. I just think at this point, with 4 games of good production, I think we have to forget his name is Quentin Johnson. We have to say this is the player on the Chargers who's a first-round pick and who's playing like one right now. Sutton, a little bit tougher of a matchup. I think he sees a lot of Quinyon Mitchell. Woody Marks, again, beautiful last week. I think there might be a little bit of, a little more Nick Chubb because of the matchup this week, the power running. So I would go with Quentin there. All right, and let's see what we got here. Joe is next. Juju or Slayton? James Koh is in the house. James Koh, welcome in for week 5, my friend.
It's good to be here, man. Good to see you, pal. How's everything going?
been a great week. The bye weeks are on us. We're already dealing with that kind of fallout. Brock Bowers is now week to week with his injury, which is stunning for many of us. But it's been tough, and the injury hammer has been there. James, few injuries. We already knew Tyrone Tracy would be out for the Giants, continues to be out. Cam Skadden had 25 carries last week. How confident are you in him against the Saints this week?
Oh, I love him this week. Again, it just, he showed dominant, touch share there for New York. And I think New Orleans defense, it's not great. I don't think it's one of the worst in the NFL, but it's certainly not great. And so it's a good matchup overall. And we're just interested in running backs, again, that touch the ball this much, right? So long as Tyrone Tracy is out, Cam Skadden will absolutely must start.
Now I'm getting a conflicting report here. It's reading these things saying Adonai Mitchell's inactive, but then it said he's supposed to be limited. So we have to double check that one later to see what the truth on that one is. Jets Jermaine Johnson is out, which means Dak Prescott a little more time with 4 starting offensive linemen out. How worried are we that the Cowboys are missing their 4 best offensive linemen in this game?
Yeah, I just don't know. How do you go around playing Dak? And I get it. He had adverse conditions last week, and you're thinking, all right, this guy just went absolute ham sandwich. But it's a non-rivalry game now. Jets defense is still pretty good. I don't know. I'm not really trusting Dak this week. I think he comes back to earth. CeeDee Lamb is out again. It's just, like I said, there's just not a lot there to get excited about. And I know 4 teams are on a bye. It is really tough to trust Dak Prescott this week.
Man, Chuba Hubbard, as we know, is out. We have, oh my gosh, why am I losing my mind here? Running
Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle's in this week. Dowdle was great last year with Dallas. Put up almost the same numbers that we saw Chuba Hubbard put up. Now, the interior lineman missing 2 people. What are your expectations for Rico Dowdle in this one?
Again, who else do they go to here, right? There's just not – there's a dearth of talent there at the running back position when we're talking about Carolina. So, to me, I think he sees a ton of work. And as you mentioned, he had a pretty good season last year in Dallas. I think very quietly, I don't think people realize that Rico Dowdle had 1,300 yards for the Dallas Cowboys last year. Like, that's what's so interesting, So, I'm actually trusting Dowdle quite a bit here. I thought he was a pretty decent pass catcher as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to like if we're talking about a Miami defense, by the way, that's not good at all. I just talked about how Dallas is going up against the Jets, and we got all these different matchups. Miami's got to be one of the worst defenses in the NFL. You know what I mean? 100%. So I think Carolina, for me, is in a pretty good spot. Again, this is kind of why Bryce Young is an interesting sleeper. I don't totally know if I'm trusting Bryce Young, but I have seen him listed as a sleeper in different spots. And I get it. But again, it's all because Miami's defense is really one of the worst, 5 worst in the NFL.
I've called Miami's defense pillow soft. That's what I'm sticking with until further notice. I love that term. It sounds so nice for opposing offense. Bucky Irving out probably multiple weeks. We already know Rachaad White's a big factor here. Some people are really scuffling this week. Is Sean Tucker somebody we consider, or is he too far of a dart throw to consider?
No, I don't think so. I think Rachaad White's definitely going to get some work. But, the fact that he's been de-emphasized in this offense this year as opposed to last year, I think tells you a little something about where the team is at with Rachaad White, And it's not as if Rachaad White was this hyper-efficient, super explosive player. To me, if anything, Sean Tucker kind of profiles better as an early down thumper, and Rachaad White maybe retains his pass-catching role with this team. If that's the split that they go with, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, that being said, I am anticipating Rachaad White to be the starter there. I just think that if he is, I think that Sean Tucker is going to be a 50-50 guy. So when we're talking about deep sleepers, I think Sean Tucker, Isaiah Davis, these are 2 guys that I'm very interested in.
Yeah, I said earlier, Aaron Glenn is adamant on using 2 backs, and I personally believe Isaiah Davis, in my mind, is better than Braylon Allen. I know people argue whatever. Isaiah Davis is a good football player, so he can contribute and play good football, so we'll see how that goes. One last one before we get to the questions. A.J. Brown, we know it's 1/2 of football that he's been productive for fantasy. The rest of it, nothing. Squeaky wheel all over the place. all over. But they have a real tough matchup with Denver. I don't think they have any motivation to change what they're doing because they're 4-0. If somebody's asking you an A.J. Brown question, how are you framing it?
It really depends on who they're trying to play over A.J. Brown. I think at the end of the day, I get it. It's a terrible matchup against Denver, and Denver's been so tough, especially against outside wide receivers. I understand. I get it. This year, though, can I just say, I don't think Denver's been as shut down as advertised, though, right? So
Right.
I think there's been, and again, if we're just talking about overall volume, you talk about squeaky wheel. I love that. I love that for A.J. Brown this week. So I think there still is some upside play available there. So again, by the way, I just wanted to talk about Denver versus outside wide receivers. They are bottom 10 in receptions allowed to outside wide receivers. They are middle of the pack. They've allowed the 12th fewest. So again, very much clumped in the middle in terms of yards allowed to outside wide receivers. Still top 10 in terms of completion rate allowed. So again, I'm not saying that they're, a total pushover here, but again, it's not as shut down as some folks would think, So I think some production can be had here. We saw Quentin Johnston obviously do some things, right? So I don't know. To me, A.J. Brown is in a really interesting spot. And yeah, it really depends on who you're trying to play over him. Again, the floor, the view that he is a top 10 play is just now dead, right?
100%.
But I think he's certainly still in the top 25 mix. It's crazy to say he's not. I mean, look at the top 25 wide receivers right now. It's very volatile, right? So I would say A.J. Brown's a volatile wide receiver too. I wouldn't drop him below that just because we know what the upside looks like with A.J. Brown.
All right, so let's get some questions. We'll do Joe's, then we have a super chat. But Joe's question's been up here for like 5 minutes or so. So Juju or Slayton? For me, this one's pretty easy. What do you say, James?
Oh, this is interesting. I think I'm going Slayton here. We're anticipating a lot more air yards. We're anticipating more target share than Juju. Juju's got some competition in targets now, right? Like Xavier Worthy is back. Where are we at with his role in this offense as well? So just I would probably lean towards Slayton, but what do you think, Jim?
Yeah, same thing. Because Slayton last week when Malik was out, there was 4 targets, and he caught all, but maybe either all or all but one of them. So it looks like he's got it going on. So yeah, very, very positive situation. I would go with him as well. All right, so next we go to let's go to the super chat question, and we'll come back to Delroy's. All right, we have got R.J. Harvey, Isaiah Davis can also pick up Tolbert and start. So we'll start with that one. Where do you sit on that one?
Man, this one's a tough one. I think R.J. Harvey, Isaiah Davis are both, again, on the backside of the B side, right? So we're talking 40, at most 50% snap share for both R.J. Harvey, Isaiah Davis. I probably trust Harvey a little bit. I think he has established himself and carved out a little bit more of an established role there with Denver. With Isaiah Davis, it's just all projection. We know he's going to be the number 2. How much will they utilize him? Right? That really becomes a question. Shoot, they only used Braylon Allen, 20 to 25% of the snaps, right? So
right.
Does Isaiah Davis see 35% of the snaps? Does he see 40%? I'm projecting him to see 40%.
Right.
But again, it could absolutely be 25, and we're sitting here holding the bag, right? So for me, I think RJ Harvey is a little bit safer play here. And can you pick up Tolbert and start? Again, depends on how shallow your wide receiver core is, but I'm not totally trusting Tolbert. Like I said, they're missing 3-4 offensive linemen here. How much time are they going to have to pop off some of these passes? And again, he's splitting time there in with
now,
that.
Turpin is out, but you're right. But I think he's talking picking Tolbert over those guys, and I think you're saying no, those running backs are more established than Tolbert, right?
Yeah.
So we're good on that.
Right.
And then Juwan Johnson or Mark Andrews. Look, Cooper Rush is not going to be what Lamar Jackson is for the downfield game for Andrews. Ronnie Stanley's out. Juwan Johnson, they may not have to throw a lot, but regardless, for me, it's Johnson easy. Where do you stand on that one?
Johnson is too important to that Saints offense. And again, it's a pretty good matchup, I think, overall against the Giants, who, again, not the best defense in the NFL. So, yeah, for me, that's one easy. Juwan Johnson.
All right, we'll go next. Delroy. Start 2. Full PPR. Keon Stevenson, Slayton, or Tremble? What do you got?
Man, this one's tough for me. It's not Tremble. I do have Tremble listed as a sleeper here, but overall, it's going to be a little too. He's more of a deep sleeper. I think for me, I'm probably trusting Keon Coleman the most in terms of trying to chase a little bit of upside here. Can I get a little upside with Keon Coleman? The matchup worries me just a little bit, but the funny thing about Keon Coleman, I don't know if you feel this way about this, Jim, but Keon Coleman, I don't even know if the matchup matters. So many of his plays are on broken plays, right? So like if he gets to some of these broken plays and gets a 30-yard bomb, we're good, So again, I think Keon Coleman for me is I'm leaning that way. Some of these other guys, again, a little too much volatility. Oh, we lost you there, Jim. You're muted, pal.
I'm sorry. Thank you for getting me. I was coughing, so thank you. I turned that off. So Minnesota had gotten great field position inside the 50. They wanted to get cute. Let's run Xavier Scott. First play, fumbles, Cleveland ball. So Cleveland now has the ball back and winning about 10 minutes in the game. All right, next one. So you went with Coleman, and who else? Who was your second one for that one?
Oh, we got to start two. I'll go Keon Coleman. I'll go Darius Slayton here.
Yeah, Slayton's a good second call on that one. Stevenson's just too hard to trust. If he puts the ball on the carpet, he can see 2 carries and be done. Can't take that risk. All right, Jordan asks, full PPR, need one for a flex. Monty or Woody?
Oh my gosh. How do I want to play both.
Right? If there was ever a week for Monty, though, they will run like they did against Baltimore. If they have a defense that can't stop the run, they will just pound it with both running backs. Exactly. And Monty could easily go for 102 touchdowns here. Woody Marks, great last week. But the one way you get Baltimore, power running. We've seen that. That was exactly what we saw in the past. And if there's ever going to be one last hurrah for Nick Chubb, it's this week. And I think they're both involved. I think it's Monty. What do you think?
I think it's Monty too, but and let me also say this about Woody Marks. I know he played 58% of the snaps. Nick Chubb played 40% of the snaps last week. In a Tennessee blowout, 26-0, a snap share, play share, target share, all that stuff gets a little wonky in those blowouts, right? So I just wanted to give a little word of caution there too. So I'm trusting Monty a lot more. Cincinnati's defense stinks, so let's go there. Let's trust Monty. I think he has a really nice bounce back week. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get into the end zone this week, honestly.
Same thing. Delaghezi up next. Need to sit one. Big Dog Henry, Genty, Dowdler, Debo. Sounds like I answered this one before, but I told him when I told him he asked the same one before. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the next one. I answered that one already. All right, adventures from the queue. Full PPR, need a flex. Ladd, Thomas Jr., Rashad White. He's leaning White for volume. So what do you think?
It's funny. I think this week is the Ladd comeback week. They're missing some offensive linemen. I think their game plan needs to favor some quick passing attack. And I really like Ladd overall. I mean, he's just a better player. So give me Ladd in this one. You're right. Rashad White has the safer floor. There's no question. But to me, I don't know. I want to chase a little bit of upside here. Ladd's been too good, and he's too quiet to start the season. There's no injuries to speak of. So I like Ladd in this one.
And Washington is not a defense that's going to give much resistance. So this is an optimal situation. So this looks really, really good for that underneath receiver. All right. Kevin wants to know 2 of these in the PPR, Devontae Smith, Brian Thomas, Diggs, or Waddle. Need 2 of those.
You need 2 from Devontae Smith, Brian Thomas. Well, I got to play Diggs. First of all, I 100% need to play Diggs. Revenge game like like nothing else, man. And he's obviously cracked the century mark for the first time last week. So right. Drake May and he are definitely developing a chemistry. So go ahead and give me Diggs. And I'll go Waddle right here.
Same.
Why not? I think Tyreek Hill, again, being out, Waddle's going to be the true number 1. Maybe they get him more utilized in motion, give him some of these, easier looks that Tyreek Hill was getting before. And I think Waddle sees 10 targets in this ball game. You can't step away from that volume.
Yeah, and he's already had a couple productive games, so it's not like Waddle's been like a fantasy bum all year. He's got a couple games with like 17 PPR points, so he's done it, unlike Devontae even half of one game, and BTJ, whose highest game is like 10.3 PPR points. Can't roll on that. All right, Stacks wants to know half PPR, Pittman, Sutton, Kamara.
Um, let's see here. Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's clearly Pittman. I go that way. Again, for me, it's between Pittman and Kamara. But again, I think I lean
Very
Pittman
close.
here. I want to chase a little bit of that upside. Half PPR makes it a little bit more interesting on the Kamara side. But still, I think I lean Pittman here. I don't know. Again, for me, that's a very close one between Pittman and Kamara. What are you thinking here, Jim?
And those Raiders corners are not good. So it's
Right.
very, very attackable. Some easy throws for Daniel Jones here. So, yeah, and I would think that the Raiders are going to come in, try to stack to stop Jonathan Taylor and dare Jones to beat him. And I think that's where Pittman wins. So I like that call. Kamara's close, like you said. If your gut says Kamara, we totally get that because Giants are not very good against the run. Sleek wants to know full PPR, Waller or Mark Andrews. I can't go with Andrews because of the quarterback. What about you?
Yeah. Mark Andrews, other than that one blow-up game, has done nothing either,
Yeah.
by the way. I think we have more evidence that Waller is a red zone threat, and that's all we really care about for our fantasy tight ends. And can I also say this? I don't know if y'all remember this, but last year Jonnu Smith ran the third most, or had the third most routes and had the second most targets on that Miami team. Mike McDaniel, for whatever reason, drew up a bunch of tight end plays. Don't be surprised if Waller walks into that target share too. So again, just the utilization of the offense and just thinking about where Jonnu was last year, Waller steps into that role potentially. Yeah, give me Waller. I'm really confident that Waller has a really nice end of season or rest of the season here with Miami.
Hey, as long as Waller's healthy, got to consider him for sure. There'll be a day when he's not healthy, but that day's not today, James Koh.
Right, exactly.
That's the story of my life too. Well, I'm healthy and I'm moving
True.
around. I'm good. All right.
Feeling good. Right, exactly.
Mayfield or Drake May. Drake May's had a super soft schedule, has Buffalo here. May's still very good, though. Mayfield doesn't really matter who he plays. He finds a way to get it done every week at Seattle. Which one you like?
I think I trust Mayfield more because of what you just said. He just seems to find a getaway, to make it happen. He's taken on a Seattle defense that is really tough. Mike McDaniel's been, coaching these guys up really, really well. That being said, they do tend to give up some big plays every now and again. So Mayfield, we know he could scramble a little bit too. He's been a little bit of a surprise on the ground too now. Right. So
Yes.
I will say I kind of like the fact that if Mayfield gets into, kind of creation mode and starts scrambling around, I think he'd give you a little bit of juice on the ground, too. I'll take Mayfield a little bit over May here.
All right, we're going to go to Ricardo next. I want to say I answered this one before. I answered that one before.
All right, there you go.
Chris, half PPR, Dobbins or Rashad White?
Oh, man. I think for me, it's going to be Dobbins. Again, I am a little bit scared of Rashad White. Not hyper efficient. And will we see a little bit of Sean Tucker? Will it be a 50-50? Dude, Dobbins has been playing great, by the way. There's no question about it. And while, again, we talked about this with Waller. While Dobbins is healthy, let's roll out Dobbins,
Right.
And he's still healthy, so we're good.
And then Chris wants to know, survivor pool pick this week. I have to tell you who I took. I got to look at the slate of games real quick because I know I can't. It's always hard to remember who I picked because I have multiple ones. But let me just think. James, anybody standing out to you as a team that's definitely going to win this week?
Let's see. I really like the Chargers in a bounce back spot here with Jaden Daniels kind of banged up.
Detroit for me. It was Detroit because
Detroit.
they put
It's got to be Detroit.
They put
It's
their
gotta
foot
be
on the metal. So I like them, and you gave us a good one as well. If somebody really wants to go on the ledge, I mean, Houston's actually favored. I don't know that I'd want to bet on Houston, but Baltimore is so beat up. But I would probably just be safe with Detroit if you don't have them available. And James, what was your play again that you mentioned a second ago?
The Chargers. Chargers against
Chargers.
Washington.
Yeah, that would
No
be another
Terry
one to consider.
McLaurin. Jaden Daniels is hurt. And again, the Chargers probably got a little bad taste in their mouth from last week. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to Scott Kolb's question. Then I'm going to turn you loose, James, and let you close it out. Irving is out multiple weeks, at least two, it looks like, with a shoulder. All right, so that was just an FYI. We went over that a little earlier, so good there. James Koh, appreciate you. Always great to hear your insight. You're going to rock the rest of this thing. I'm going to leave you at the 10:14 timestamp question, and I'm getting
Love
out. Good luck, everybody. Bye, James.
See you, Jim.
All right.
Jim's the best, man. I love Jim here. Chris Gallione, what's going on, man? PPR, half point PPR pick one, McConkey. Oh, we're going McConkey. DeMarcado, again, he's on the backside of a 50-50 split. Maybe he's the 40% guy. We're talking about Michael Carter potentially being the starter here. It's a very murky situation anyways. By the way, if y'all are wondering, I am actually more intrigued by Isaiah Davis than I am by either one of Michael Carter and Emari DeMarcado. And maybe I'm wrong here, but we have visual evidence that DeMarcado and Michael Carter are not needle movers at this position. Meanwhile, we actually have visual evidence that Isaiah Davis could be a very good player. He could be an explosive player. 5.8 yards per carry last year. We talked about Braylon Allen versus Isaiah Davis. I'm going to say 5.6. 5.6 yards per carry last year versus 3.6 yards per carry. No, you know what? I am right. 5.8 yards per carry here for Isaiah Davis last year. 3.6 for Braylon Allen. He was the better back in that backfield. Again, I know it's very small sample size, but we're talking about over 35 career carries, 5.7 yards per carry for Isaiah Davis. I think there's more to be interested in with Isaiah Davis over either one of those Arizona backs. But if we're talking about just this week, go ahead and give me McConkey easily. Like I said, they're down 2 tackles here. I think they changed their game plan just a little bit to try and get Ladd McConkey a little bit more involved. Quick game is going to be more important here for LA moving forward. Did we get to all of these super chat questions? Let's take a look. Where are we here? Okay. Here we go. Bijan out. Right, they're on a bye. Charbonnet or Pacheco? I am going to trust. This is such a hard question because again, like the touches for both are going to be relatively limited, but Charbonnet gets a little bit more work. I'm going to trust Charbonnet just a little bit more. Let me go to the matchups here real quick. Tampa Bay has been actually extremely tough against the run. They have allowed the fewest rush yards per game, which is actually a little bit of a surprise. 2.92 yards per carry against opposing running backs. I'm starting to lean Pacheco here. Maybe Pacheco found a little bit of something last week. Jacksonville, meanwhile, I don't think they're not as good, but still pretty good overall. So, you know what, man? They're both tough matchups here. I think I still will lean Charbonnet. Give me Charbonnet over Pacheco here. They utilize him a little bit more in that run game. So let's see what's going on here. I want to say, Fabian, if we didn't get to this, I just want to make sure we got to it. RJ Harvey, Isaiah Davis. Pretty sure we got to this one. I'm trusting RJ Harvey a little bit more. Oh, yeah, we did get to this one. Okay. Pick up Tolbert and start. Yeah, like I said, it all depends on what your wide receiver depth looks like. Okay, so we are going back to, where are we at? I think we're going to Chris. Yep, let's go. Chris Williams. Here we go. Roll the dice, putting Slayton in instead of either one of A.J. Brown, Ted McMillan. No. Zay Flowers? Maybe. Jacoby? Maybe. I definitely don't want to play Slayton ahead of A.J. Brown. I think both of these guys are highly volatile plays, right? So, again, I'll take A.J. Brown over Slayton. I'll definitely take Ted McMillan over Slayton. Ted is just, guys, man, Ted's the real deal, man. Like, he's got shades of Nico Collins in him. You know what I mean? Give me Ted McMillan for sure over Slayton. Zay Flowers is an interesting one. Backup quarterback. Houston's defense is tough. And then Jacoby, I'm going to trust Jacoby. So the only person I would put him ahead of is Zay Flowers right now. That's it. But even then, I think I trust all these guys ahead of Slayton. We're talking about a passing attack that had 111 yards receiving last week. Like, what? What a small pie we're trying to parse through here. You know what I mean? 111 yards passing. Again, obviously it's going to be, I don't want to say obviously. I would think it's going to be more this week. I'm not sure, though. I mean, what are we talking about? Maybe 200 yards passing? I mean, shoot, we dang near doubled our passing in yards if we go to 200. That's still not a lot. Theo Johnson will be utilized in this passing attack. Wan'Dale Robinson will be in there too, and I think Cam Scatterable will get some checkdowns too. So I don't know. Give me all these guys ahead of Slayton, to be honest with you. Maybe Zay Flowers, maybe. But I still think I want to trust Zay ahead of Darius Slayton, to be honest with you. And guys, by the way, I love Darius Slayton. I think I'm a big Darius Slayton fan. I think he would be a good addition to any passing attack. Anyways, Disco Day, full point PPR, Pittman or Brian Thomas. Give me Pittman. Man, what are y'all doing with Brian Thomas? By the way, it's not an easy defense and not an easy matchup here against Kansas City. So go ahead and give me Pittman. He's got an easier matchup, obviously. And yeah, I think he bounces back, has a really nice performance against Las Vegas. Let's go. Delroy Scarlett, full point PPR, Malik Washington, Alec Io Manor. You know what's crazy? I like Io Manor this week. He's one of my favorite sleepers this week because Tennessee has given up. Tennessee is going up against a defense in Arizona that has given up a lot of production to outside wide receivers, and Alec Io Manor is right there. Again, they are bottom 10 when we're talking about receptions and yards per game allowed to outside wide receivers. And Calvin Ridley obviously dealing with an injury here. They're anticipating him to go, was the last that I saw. I don't have a current injury report in front of me here, but they are anticipating Ridley to go, but obviously he's banged up. And even if he's not banged up, I think Alec Io Manor and Cam Ward have developed a little bit of chemistry here. He might be the new number one. Led the team in targets, routes run, and receptions last week over Calvin Ridley. Alec Io Manor's in a pretty good spot against Arizona. I really like the matchup against outside wide receivers. And shoot, yeah, give me Alec Io Manor over Malik Washington because we have no idea. We have no clue what his usage will be like there in Miami. Disco Dave, first of all, what a handle. I love the Disco Dave handle. TD Heavy. Lee, Juwan Johnson or Likely? Again, we're going Juwan Johnson. Can't trust the backup quarterback. I think Juwan Johnson's seeing too much volume overall. I will gladly lean on Juwan Johnson right there. And again, Likely is an explosive player too. His first game back, though, he's still splitting some time there with Mark Andrews. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe he gets it done with the backup, but again, I'm not betting on it. Delroy, half PPR, we're starting 2. Tony Pollard, Dowdle, Malik Washington, Christian Kirk, Tommy Tremble. If we're starting 2, we're still going Pollard. Look, I know they've got Spears coming back, but still, though, I think he still ends up seeing 65% of the snaps. That's more than enough for me when we're talking about the running back position. And yeah, we got to start Dowdle. I think those are your 2 guys right there, Pollard and Dowdle. Again, no idea what's going to happen with Malik Washington. Christian Kirk is splitting some of that slot time with various wide receivers there in Houston. Tommy Tremble, I love the matchup this week at tight end, but he's a tight end. You know what I mean? You can't play Tommy Tremble over these 2 starting running backs. Just can't do it. Not in my mind. And again, fantasy is a funny game. Tremble's in a really, really good spot. Miami has given up 11.5 PPR points to tight end in 3 straight games. Right, so we like the matchup against Miami again, but it's hard to trust Tommy Tremble over Tony Pollard or Rico Dowdle. Okay, Easy Goer, what's up, man? Good morning to you, pal. I think this was meant. I don't think you're calling me the Schwami. Great callback though. The Schwami. Schwami says, man, what an old school throwback call. Okay, I like it. Chase Brown or Ridley? Calvin Ridley? No, we can't play Calvin Ridley. Again, I don't know how hurt he is. I don't know how many snaps he's going to play. He missed practice all week. I don't know. I don't think we play Ridley. Again, give me Chase Brown there. More volume overall. I know it's not the best. And he himself has not been the best, but it's almost impossible to trust Calvin Ridley here. What do we got? Joseph. Dak or Drake? I'm assuming you mean Dak or Drake May. It's meant for Jim. Hey, I'm James. I can go by Jim too, y'all, if y'all want. We can go to, Jim and James, the Jim Jam show. Dak or Drake. You know what's funny, man? Like, I probably trust Dak a little bit more, but I will say this though. I think Drake's got a little bit more upside. He's been running the ball pretty well. Buffalo's a tougher matchup, but man, I do think that he's in a good spot. So go ahead and give me. Gosh, this one's a tough one. Give me Drake May in this one, guys. God dang it. Maybe I end up looking stupid here, but I'll take Drake May. Buffalo doesn't scare me defensively, like at all. It's an aging defense. And I think Drake May is going to find a little something here with Stephon Diggs. Bold prediction, y'all. Stephon Diggs, 2 touchdowns. Bold prediction. I don't know why I'm feeling it, but I am. Revenge game. If I'm feeling the Stephon Diggs revenge game, baby, I think Drake May might get it done too. Francisco Marquez, Woody Marks, or Rico Dowdle. Full point PPR. Safety play, Rico Dowdle. Miami stinks defensively, and Dowdle's the clear-cut starter, in my opinion. Woody Marks, again, 58% snap share last week, but it was in a blowout. Makes me a little bit worried that maybe the snap share is a little bit of a fool's gold. You know what I'm saying? I trust Dowdle more, but I don't think there's any question in my mind that Woody Marks has the higher upside. So if we're chasing a little bit of ceiling now, you need a little bit of a ceiling now, go ahead and give me Woody Marks. But I think certainly he has a lower floor. So yeah, I'll take Dowdle for safety, Woody Marks for the upside. Delroy, Ramondre, Tajay. Come on, y'all. Y'all know these questions aren't fair. Come on, bro. Flip a coin now. No, you know what, man? Listen, give me Ramondre Stevenson. I still think he's going to be part of a 50-50 split. What's really interesting to me overall when we're talking about New England is that they are very hesitant to give this backfield over to the rookie in Travion Henderson, right? So even last week in what was a blowout, right? You're thinking, all right, this is a pretty good spot to get Travion Henderson up and going, right? No. Travion Henderson played 30%, 29% of the snaps. That's interesting to me. Now, you could view that to one of two ways, that either they view Travion Henderson as the starter and they don't want to give him overexposure there in a blowout, or it's the other way, which is, hey, listen, we got to get Ramondre Stevenson back right and mentally back in that football game. And so they're going to give him 58% snap share. So right now it's Ramondre Stevenson for me. He's still getting usage. I think even in a worst case scenario, I still think that he sees 50%, barring a fumble. If he fumbles it, all bets are off, man. All bets are off. But go ahead and give me Ramondre over Tyjae Spears. First game back. We don't even know what the usage is going to look like. And oh, by the way, Tennessee's offense, not very good. Not very good. We don't want running backs in not good offenses, man. Terminal sarcasm. Man, what a handle. What a handle. Are you kidding me? I love this handle. PPI, Horton or Adonai Mitchell. Did I see a report that Adonai Mitchell might be a little limited here? Let me go. Adonai Mitchell. Again, I'm on the chat with y'all, man. So again, I don't have time. You know, I'm not totally sure. Okay, Adonai Mitchell is expected to have a limited role Sunday. A limited role Sunday. Who are they going to play? Well, they're going to go 2 wide receiver set. Is Josh down season? That's weird. Interesting. I don't know what they're going to do there. That's interesting. Okay, so Torrey Horton then, I guess. If Adonai Mitchell's going to see a limited role, I guess we got to go Torrey Horton. He's obviously a rookie. He's coming on. He's a really good player. We're hoping Sam Darnold finds him in the end zone like he has in weeks past here. C. Faulkner, full point PPR. Dobbins or Pollard? Dobbins. Sorry, my brain had to process the names for a little bit. By the way, if y'all want me to help y'all, full names help me, matchups help me, and burn through some of these questions faster. You know what I'm saying? But no, for me, I think it's Dobbins. I like Dobbins this week. Again, he's the starter, man. You know, he's starter. He's in a pretty decent offense. The matchup against Philadelphia is obviously pretty scary. There's no question. The D line there is really is tough there for Philadelphia. But overall, I think Dobbins is in a healthier offense overall. Pollard has Spears coming back. What does that workload look like? And Dobbins, to me, has been the more explosive player of the two. Neither one is in a great spot just because Pollard's been, Tennessee's offense has not been great. So I'll take Dobbins, man. I'll take Dobbins right there in full point PPR. We're hoping he gets a bunch of checkdowns here against a really tough Philadelphia defensive line. So, again, if that defensive line starts to get home, man, like there's going to be some checkdown opportunities available for Dobbins here. Is Mitchell in the doghouse? I think he might be. I'm not sure. Is he hurt? Like, I don't get it. I don't remember seeing him on the injury report. I'm probably wrong here, y'all, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Jeremy Fowler is saying, okay, this is a Jeremy Fowler report. This is interesting. After two costly mistakes last week, one was that drop ball in the end zone. The other one was a holding. Colts wide receiver Adonai Mitchell is expected to be active, but in a limited role Sunday versus Las Vegas. Veteran Ashton Doolin. Oh, my God. Ashton Doolin could see more snaps in the team's third receiver spot. So, yeah, it's Josh Downs season. Let me tell you right now. It's Josh Downs season. Wow. Okay. Yeah, if you've got Downs, fire him up. Good Lord. Greg, Baker or Drake May, Stephon Diggs or Chase Brown. We're definitely going Diggs over Brown. Like I said, it's a very revenge game against Buffalo. I love Stephon Diggs this week. Baker or Drake May. I think we answered this one. I think I'm going Baker here against Seattle. Again, Seattle's a very tough defense, but Baker gets it done. Drake May I love. Drake May I love too, but again, I'm not totally gonna play him over a guy in Baker Mayfield that we've seen be really, really good this year as well. So go ahead and give me Baker here. All right, man. Joe Egan, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Okay, looks like that's from a Jim question. My bad. Delroy, full point PPR. Keon Coleman. Oh, we got this one, right? Yeah, we're moving on. Okay. Travion Henderson, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr. Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey relatively easily here for me, John. Again, Travion Henderson is a really interesting player, but New England doesn't totally trust him. Can I postulate as to why they might not trust him? Again, great pass blocker. But again, I thought he was relatively limited, right? Like he can't really run zone that well. At least that's what my charting shows. My charting from Travion Henderson from Ohio State showed a player that was not very good on zone runs, really good on man gap. When he knows what hole to hit, like if you tell him go hit the A gap, oh my God, he is coming with the fury of the gods. Coming into that A gap. You tell him to hit that B gap, yeah, he's there. Okay, now you tell him to go run stretch. Now we got to go run outside zone. Okay, well, like he's not sure what hole to hit, right? And the problem with outside zone for him is that you got to be quick, and then you got to be patient, and then you got to be quick. That's not his game. He's got one speed. It's on. It's on or it's off. That's it. Sometimes he beats his offensive lineman to the gap. That's the problem, man. That's the problem. He doesn't have a lot of patience. He's like the anti-Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, I mean, so that's my theory. That's my theory. I don't know if it's true, but it's my theory. And also, by the way, hey, listen, Ramondre Stevenson's a pretty good football player now. Okay, the fumbles aside, good football player. Okay, so that's my theory. But I'm going to say Ladd McConkey in this one. Brian Thomas Jr.'s got a really tough matchup against KC. I think Spagnuolo is gonna put Trevor Lawrence in a little bit of a mental blender here. So I don't know. We'll see. He's been coming around though, BTJ. I've got hope for him. I'm not giving up on BTJ yet, but I'm just saying for this week alone, go ahead and give me Ladd McConkey. Okay, Austin Slaughter. What's up, man? Hey, good morning to you, pal. Quentin Johnston or Cortland Sutton. See, this is a perfect question right here. Quentin Johnston versus Washington, Cortland Sutton versus Philadelphia. I got the matchups right there. I don't have to think about what matchups we got going on. Give me QJ. Philadelphia with Quinyon Mitchell against Cortland Sutton. No, thank you. I will take Quentin Johnston against Washington. Their secondary is not very good. And while I do think that this is going to be a really good Ladd McConkey game, cannot ignore Quentin Johnston. Why can't it be both, by the way? Why can't it be both? I like UJ in this matchup against Washington, okay? Mordenheim. Bro, is that your real name, dude? Mordenheim? Oh, man, what a great handle that is. Godwin or BTJ half PPR? Oh, man. I am going to trust. Oh, my goodness gracious. Give me BTJ here. And I don't want to say BTJ, but I'm going to say BTJ. Look, I want to say Godwin. I do. But I think he'll be on somewhat of a snap count. I want to chase a little bit of that BTJ upside here. That's the only reason I'm saying BTJ over Godwin. And by the way, they're both in tough matchups. Seattle's been really, really tough here. So I'm going to say BTJ, like 49% confidence BTJ. But only because I want to chase a little bit of upside. And I don't know if Godwin gives me that upside, to be honest with you. But if you want a little bit, I think if you want better floor, Godwin obviously saw a crazy amount of targets there. But if you want floor in half PPR, go ahead and give me Godwin. I think that's the right way to answer that question. Full point PPR, Daniel Jones or Murray. I love that it's full point PPR. I don't know does PPR matter for quarterbacks? I mean, they occasionally catch their own batted balls every now and again, Brett Favre style, but full point PPR, I don't know if that makes a difference, AJ. Daniel Jones or Murray? I'm going to go Daniel Jones here. Look, he's just been great all year long. Kyler Murray, I don't know. Again, go ahead and give me Daniel Jones. They're both running the ball too, by the way. So there is that. So go ahead and give me Daniel Jones over Murray because he's just been playing better football. I like the matchup too. Let's see here. Okay, hold on one second. Just catching up on a box score here real quick. Okay, cool. We're going to go to the super chat. Randy, Malik, how would you rank these RB stashes? Long-term and non-PPR? Okay. In non-PPR, we're going Dinosaur League, Randy? All right, let's go. If I'm ranking Kendre Miller, Ollie Gordon, Brashard Smith, Keaton Mitchell, Sean Tucker, let's see here. I am going to, oh my gosh. If I had to long-term, okay, if I'm ranking these dudes, I am going to rank, I'll go Kendre Miller. I'll go, Brashard Smith, Ollie Gordon, Sean Tucker, Keaton Mitchell. So basically I'll go Kendre Miller, Brashard Smith, Ollie Gordon. Then I would go Keaton Mitchell, Sean Tucker. And you're saying, and I'm saying you're saying long-term. You know what I mean? Like Bucky's supposed to come back at some point here relatively soon, maybe a couple weeks. Right? So if you're saying long-term, I don't think he has that much long-term value unless something happens to Rachaad White. Then looking pretty good. But again, I'm going just based off of like who I think, like we're talking about aging running backs in front of him. Kendre Miller's got an aging running back in front of him. Brashard Smith's got an aging running back in front of him. Ollie Gordon has an injury prone, I think that's fair to say. Injury prone running back, small guy in front of him. Keaton Mitchell, I don't even know if he's the direct backup, to be honest with you. Keaton Mitchell might be Justice Hill. So that's how I would go with it. Randy, again, I'm just trying to read the room here in terms of aging running backs and who I trust more. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at here? I completely lost where I'm at. My bad. Where are we going, dude? Oh, man, I completely lost where... did we do this one? Yeah, we did this one. Okay, did we do this one? Yeah, we did. All right, cool. All right, we're going. We're moving. Just dropped Ollie for Jaden Blue. If I missed a question, my bad, y'all. I'm not as good as Jim about these questions, flipping back and forth between these live questions and the super chats. I'm just not as good. My bad. I apologize, man. Just dropped Ollie for Jaden Blue stash. Are you crazy? Nah, both of those guys are just stashes, man. Miles Sanders hurt. Jaden Blue going to be getting some work here. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I think he's a really good pass catching running back, explosive player. Obviously, he's got some speed. We'll see what they do in regards to what we got here in that Dallas backfield. Austin Slaughter, pick 2. Pollard at Arizona. Rico Dowdle at Miami. We're playing Dowdle. Chubb at Baltimore. JCM. We're not playing JC. We're not playing Bill. Okay, Bill's not getting enough work. We're good. We're not playing Kendre Miller. It's funny. Everyone is high on Kendre Miller right now because of the carries. Dude, he only played 25% of the snaps last week. I don't know. But that seems very fluky to get that many touches on 25% snap share. So that seems fluky to me. I don't know. I still think it's very much I think it's still very much Alvin Kamara's backfield, man. I don't know. I could be wrong. But again, I'm going to go Dowdle there for sure. I'll tentatively say Chubb against Baltimore as they are down multiple defensive players and a bunch of dudes on the defensive line. I think Chubb ends up actually seeing 50% of the snap share here in a more competitive game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Harbaugh is going to get his boys ready to play. I'm actually not that worried about it because it's not like Cooper Rush is a young player. Cooper Rush is a veteran. He's not good, but he's a veteran. And I think he'll keep the offense relatively on track. We're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. A lot of short passing attack as well. Dodrick PP. Great screen name. Great screen name. Okay, Waddle or Ertz or Juwan Johnson? Oh, we're playing Waddle. Come on now. He's the number 1 wide receiver there for Miami. He's number 1 wide receiver there for Miami. No Tyreek Hill. We got to play Waddle, y'all. And then Texans defense or Seattle defense. I am going to go Texans defense. They've been playing really well, by the way, Houston. And they're going up against a Baltimore offense that obviously is down Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, no, go ahead and give me Texans defense. This week you need upside, please. All right, I got you, man. Yeah, give me Waddle, I think, in 100%, and Texans defense, I think, is the better play there. Okay, Francisco Marquez, Woody Marks or Rico Dowdle, full point PPR. Again, I feel like I answered this one, but let me just say I think Rico Dowdle gives you a better floor. Woody Marks gives you better upside. So depends on what you're going for here, but I think I am leaning towards Rico Dowdle. But Woody Marks, like I said, I think no question, I think gives you a better ceiling in this week's matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. AJ, full point PPR, Walker or White? Walker or White? Okay, I had to do mental gymnastics here. I'm like, who are we talking about? Walker? Okay, we're talking about Kenneth Walker, and we're talking about Rachaad White. See, guy, this is what the problem is, man. My brain is White. Who are we talking about? James White? Anyways, whatever. No, give me Walker. Kenneth Walker he's the real deal. At some point, it's going to crack, and he's been so close to cracking a big game. I think I'm going to stick with Kenneth Walker here. And again, White is really interesting. I think, again, a solid player. He's never been efficient. How much will they utilize him? How much is Sean Tucker going to push him? These are questions I'm just not 100% sure of right now. Right. So I'll still take Walker. I think he's got more upside, and I think he's got a better floor. PPR, Darlene, what's up? PPR, Worthy or Waddle? Waddle. Especially in PPR, Waddle. Waddle seeing 10 targets in this game, y'all. I really think that Waddle's in a good spot. Man, what a touchdown there to Jordan Addison. Carson Wentz still coming through for fantasy managers here. We'll see. I don't know. I didn't see his total touchdown numbers here, actually, to be honest with you. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. What do we got here? Okay, Justin Jefferson's having a good game. Jordan Addison's having a good game. Carson Wentz, 236 and 1 touchdown. No interceptions. Pretty good. 13 yards on the ground, too. Let's see if we can get one more touchdown. Oh, it's 25 seconds in the fourth. Yeah, okay, never mind. I take it back. My bad. Didn't have a good game. Yeah, Waddle's going to see 10 plus targets in this ball game. I really like him. Dodrick PP. Waddle or Ertz? Oh, we got this one, man. Okay, so we got Waddle there. John Nunnally. What a great, I mean, again, y'all got some great names, man. I got this boring name. James Koh. So boring. Anyways, who you feeling this week? Brenton Strange, Dalton Kincaid. I am going to say Brenton Strange. I wonder if the quick game gets a little bit more activated here with Trevor Lawrence. I think Liam Cohen knows this too, right? Like Liam Cohen's a pretty smart guy. He's going up against Spagnuolo. I don't know if we can. Again, Kincaid is a very interesting player because he's very up and down. Kincaid for ceiling. Brenton Strange, I think I'm trusting him a little bit more. Let's go with Brenton Strange here. Full point PPR, yeah. Again, I trust the floor for Brenton Strange a lot more than I trust the upside for Dalton Kincaid. Maybe I'm wrong, man. Come on. You don't need to spam it, Dodrick. Come on. You don't need to spam. We're getting to it. All sports shows are off DeMercado. He is the man and has the skills from Stephen Foster. Okay. All right. I like that confidence from you, Stephen. I like that confidence. I disagree. But I like the confidence, man. I like it, man. No, and you're right. Everyone's off of DeMercado because, again, Michael Carter's talking about, oh, I'm the starter and this, that, and this other thing. Shoot, it might be DeMercado. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the usage is going to be like in Arizona, man. It's all guessing. It's all guessing work. So because of that, it's just so much volatility there. But, yeah, if you're feeling it, go for it, man. You're feeling it, go for it. Bill Cooley, Worthy, Slayton, Coleman. I trust Worthy the most. Of that group. They're all highly volatile players, and I think you know this. Again, all three of these guys rely on a long reception to make their day worth it. But Worthy, I think, is seeing, probably the most consistent volume. I would take, I like Worthy there. The Jacksonville game feels interesting. I know defensively they've been playing well, but they've also, Jacksonville's run, I mean, dude, they have run into the best matchups. I mean, they got Burrow who got injured. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got their matchups have been so the softest in the NFL. Jim Coop in a PPR. Andrews, Goddard back from injury. Not Andrews. Let's go Goddard. Isaiah Likely's in the mix. We got a backup quarterback. I'm just not trusting Andrews here. And again, other than that one blow-up game, he's not been good. You know what I mean? He has not been good. I'll gladly take Goddard here over Andrews, man. Okay. Let's go Julian Ortiz. Jamar or Myers? Oh, man, this is where we're at. Okay, we're going Jamar Chase. Look, the offense is not good. Quarterback play, Jake Browning has not been great. But can I offer this defense of Jake Browning? And I get it. He has looked like dog water in recent weeks here. But guys, he saw Denver last week, right? Tough matchup. And then he saw Minnesota the week before, right? Like, again, that's two of the toughest, and they're both on the road. Now he's at home. Detroit doesn't play as well on the road. We know this. Detroit's down one of their top, secondary pieces, right? It's a much softer matchup against Detroit. So I actually think Jake Browning gets back on track. I don't know what's up with T. Higgins. I don't know if T. Higgins gets activated, but I am trusting Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase will have a pretty decent game against Detroit. I think he's going to see, 8 to 10 targets in this ball game. Now, talk to me next week when they see Green Bay at Green Bay. This conversation might go a little differently. But I think this week at home against Detroit, down one of their top secondary players, I think Jamar Chase is in a good spot. Julian. I like Myers. Listen, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like Myers. I do. But again, floor ceiling combination, I'll take Jamar Chase every single time. Bond apart. Start 1.5 PPR. DeMercado, Harvey. I'm starting Harvey. Tootin or Burchard. Yeah, this is a Harvey one. Look, I know the matchup is tough. against Philadelphia. We don't love the matchup against Philadelphia for sure. That being said, can I just say this about the Eagles defense? Their D line's great. But guys, it's not like they've been shut down against running backs. They're allowing nearly 100 rush yards per game. They're bottom 11 in regards to rush yards per game allowed to running backs. They're allowing 4.47 yards per carry to running backs. That's not that great. That's okay. It's not that great. They're allowing 3.67 yards after contact. That's a bottom 10 number. They're bottom 10 in run stuff rate. This isn't shut down, right? This isn't a shutdown matchup. I think on a paper perspective, yeah, they've been very tough, 100% very tough paper-wise. But it's more of a pass rushing unit, defensive line, than it is a run stopping unit, if that makes sense. I'll take Harvey there. I'll take Harvey. Okay, L Cricket, Jaden Daniels or Daniel Jones? I am going to say Daniel Jones, man. Jaden Daniels with limited mobility, taking on a really tough Chargers defense. Daniel Jones is in a much better spot against Las Vegas. Yeah, I'll take Daniel Jones, man. Why not? You know what I mean? Go ahead and give me Daniel Jones right there. He's been playing extremely well. Jaden Daniels we love, but again, hard to trust. No Terry McLaurin. The injury has me a little bit shook up as well. Michael Parla Greco! What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Tet McMillan versus Miami, yes. Or Cortland Sutton. Nope, we're going Tet McMillan. Look, Philadelphia has given up some production on the outside, but overall, again, I am extremely worried about Quinyon Mitchell, that matchup against Cortland Sutton, who has the exact kind of game that Quinyon Mitchell loves to shut down, right? Mostly vertical, some comeback attempts and stuff like that. Just not great on in-breaking routes is Cortland Sutton. I shouldn't say not great, but you know what I mean? Like, that's not his calling card, or like these deep digs. I think if you're going to get any good cornerback, you got to run a good deep dig. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. You know, because again, press coverage makes slants a little bit tough. But again, if we're talking like 15 yards out in like running a in-breaking route, that makes it tough. How do you guard that? That makes it a little bit harder. And I don't think that's really what he runs. He runs a lot of, to me, I think he runs a lot of nines, slants, and comebacks. You know what I mean? Curls. So I don't know. Again, I don't like that matchup. I love Tet McMillan too. Miami's defensively, they're not good, man. Big fella. What's going on, big fella? Full point PPR. We're starting 4, flexing 1. Listen, I hate these because, you know, the thing is, you know you want to start who you're going to start. Like, give me an either or. You're not really thinking about 5 guys here. Come on, bro. You know what I mean? But I'll go through the exercise with you. But again, just in the future, just know that, come on. Well, you're not considering 5 dudes. Like, come on, man. Like, your lineup's pretty much set here, you know? Anyways, we're going to start 4, flex 1. Okay, we're going to chase. Actually, to be honest with you, I can't even do this because I don't know who you're talking about. You're talking about Jamar Chase, you're talking about Chase Brown. I literally have no idea. Jim Wagner, like Jaden or Danny Dimes? Oh, like the Jaden or Danny Dimes question. Again, I like that Danny Dimes. I'm going Danny Dimes. I'm going Indianapolis. Indiana Jones. Give me Indiana Jones here. By the way, I'm going to be locked into that commentary on that Colts game. What the hell happened with Mark Sanchez, y'all? What the hell? This dude's fighting freaking like DoorDash drivers? What's going on, man? Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I hope he's okay from a health perspective. I know he got stabbed, but I think they said he's unstable. I don't know if that's bad or good or whatever. I hope he's okay health-wise. But what a crazy story that is. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be locked into that commentary, man. Like, dude, crazy. Bond Depart. Juwan Johnson, Mason Taylor, Tommy Tremble, Cade Otton. You're gonna start 1. Wow, you got a million. You got a million tight ends, dog. Give me Juwan Johnson of this group, man. Too much volume overall, and they trust him in this offense. He's a huge part of that New Orleans offense, and Rattler likes him, man. So let me go there. Okay, full point PPR. Start 3, flex 1. Yeah, sorry, man. Again, you got to give me those names, bro. Like, I don't know which Chase are you talking about? I have no clue. Sung Kim, half PPR, Kincaid or Taysom Hill? Oh my God. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill just got activated, man. Come on. Let's go Kincaid here. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But and maybe they've got a full package and complement of plays ready for Taysom Hill. I don't know, though. Again, it's a brand new coaching staff, too. Like, there's no guarantee that Taysom Hill sees the field at all. I'm going Kincaid. Let's go Kincaid here. Bill Cooley. Goddard or Kelsey in a TD heavy league? In a TD heavy league, give me Kelsey. Higher scoring game. Let me bring this up here. The over under on the KC Jacksonville game is 46.5. In the Philadelphia game, let me pull this up. I think it's going to be pretty low here, but Philadelphia Denver, it's 43.5. With Philadelphia with a projected total of 23.5. Kansas City has a projected total of 25, right? So go ahead and give me Kelsey in a touchdown heavy league because, again, if it's PPR, Goddard. Touchdown heavy, Kelsey. They're looking for him in the end zone too, by the way. Okay, we got that one. Aiden Galagos. Koh knows. What's up, Aiden, man? Good to see you, pal. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's my guy. I love it. I love when we got to scrape the barrel. Ollie Gordon. Michael Carter. Travis? Oh, Trevor Etienne. Oh, my God. Etienne's brother. Wow. Okay. Isaiah Davis versus Dallas. Yeah, give me Isaiah Davis. I know that sounds crazy, bro. Give me Isaiah Davis. People are sleeping on Davis right now, man. I'll chase that upside. Give me Isaiah Davis of that entire group. For reals. Stephen Foster, Rashad White, or Woody Marks 1-point PPR. I'm glad you didn't ask me about Imari DiMercado. Then I would have been like, come on, bro, you just caping up for Imari. I will take Rashad White for the floor, Woody Marks for the ceiling in 1 point, especially in 1-point PPR. I really feel confident about Rashad White's floor. Not as confident in the floor for Woody Marks. How much will they actually have to pass if they have a nice lead against the backup unit, the JV Baltimore unit? You know what I mean? I feel really confident in Rashad White's floor. Woody Marks, again, could break one, though. Rashad White's not breaking one. When was the last time you saw him break off a 30-yard run? You know, not going to happen. Woody Marks, watch him go out there and just crack a 60-yard to the crib, man. Anyways, I like Woody Marks' upside, but I like Rashad White, his floor. A lot more, especially in full point PPR. Kal-El, what's up, Superman? Good to see you, buddy. You need help with your RB2, Ginty or Javonte Williams? What? No question we're going Ginty. The guy just scored 3 touchdowns, had an amazing game last week. What? Oh, man, come on, bro. Let's go Ginty. We're not that worried about Indianapolis, are we? Come on, dude. No, we're going Ginty 100%. I feel really confident about that one. Okay, John Sherman. Love the Travion analysis. Now you got me wondering, should I take him out of the flex, put in Keon Coleman or Josh Downs? Man, are we feeling the Josh Downs breakout game? Are we? Chat, we feeling this one? Talking about Adonai Mitchell not getting snaps and stuff? Like, yo, they can't throw to Ashton Doolin over Josh Downs, can they? Can they? Dude, I'd be so disappointed if they did, man. That'd be crazy. I kind of like Josh Downs this week of that group, man. Maybe I'm going too sleepery for the sleeper. I know I'm the self-anointed sleeper king. Maybe I'm going a little too sleepery. I don't know. I like Josh Downs though. Oh, because you're already starting Pittman and Tyler Warren. Okay, then you know what? Take him out, dude. Yeah, don't go Josh Downs. My bad. You know what, man? Like I kind of sort of like Keon Coleman over Travion Henderson. Not gonna lie to you. But I do think that obviously Travion gives you a better floor than Keon. But yeah, I like Keon this week. I don't know why. I'm feeling it in my bones. I feel a touchdown in my bones with Keon Coleman. You know, I'm going to tweet this out as a matter of fact. I'm feeling a Keon Coleman TD in my bones. All right. Okay. Tweet sent out. All right. So yeah, I don't know why. I'm feeling the Keon Coleman TD. I don't know why. Kid Kobe, good morning. Good morning to you, pal. Need a flex too. Oh my God, we got 8 minutes left. I better hurry. Okay. I get caught in the weeds sometimes. Slayton, you need flex 2 half PPR. Okay. Slayton, Trey Tucker, DeMarcado, Chase Brown. We're starting Chase Brown. And of this group, I think I like. I want to say Trey Tucker. Man, give me Slayton. Give me Slayton and Chase Brown of that group. I think Trey Tucker is going to have at least one chance to get one big one. One chance to get one big one. I don't know if he's going to get it, though. Too much risk. Give me Chase Brown, Slayton, but if you want that one shot, the one shot at like a 17-point, day, it's Trey Tucker. But yeah, I'll take Slayton and Chase Brown right there. Jelly of the month. What a handle. Come on, man. PPR, you got Pollard and Spears. Drop Spears to stash Brashard Smith. They're both high, risk dudes. I think Brashard Smith has more upside, if that makes sense. That being said, I love young players. The fantasy community goes a little too crazy with young players. They're not just going to push aside Kareem Hunt. They're not. So even if you think, okay, they start to work in Brashard Smith more, he still needs either a Kareem Hunt or a Pacheco injury to be relevant. They're not just going to push aside these guys because, they're veterans. They know the system. They know the offense. It's a very complex playbook too, by the way. To assume that Brashard Smith, a rookie, just knows this Andy Reid playbook very well. Again, we're making leaps here. But yeah, I still think because the offense is way better in KC than in Tennessee, he still has way more upside than Spears. But if Pollard gets hurt, and dude, the usage has been so crazy that I can see Pollard getting hurt. I could see him seeing some wear and tear. Again, he's seen so much work the last 2 seasons. He absolutely could break down. If we're talking about a guy who could get on the football field faster, I think it's Spears. But if we're talking about just straight upside, it's Smith. That's how I would break that down. Adam Young, what's up? Waddle or Olave? Oh, God. Don't make me pick. I love Olave this week. I'm going to say Olave. I love both, though. This is too much. Come on, man. They're both good. I mean, again, did y'all know Olave is number 2 in the NFL in total targets? Number 2. That's wild. He's seeing so much volume. I do think that Waddle will see a good amount of volume too. Olave's in a really, really good spot. New York has given up a ton of production to outside wide receivers. Let me just pull this up for you here. New York. They are dead last in receptions allowed to outside receivers. They are bottom 5 in yards allowed to outside wide receivers. Dude, 67.2% completion rate to the outside. That's outrageous. That is outrageous. League average is much closer to 60%. You know what I'm saying? 67% is insane. And yeah, they've allowed the 6th most fantasy points to outside wide receivers. Dude, Olave's in such a good spot. That's also really why I like Rashid Shaheed as a sleeper too. But Olave's in such a good spot, Adam. I really like him this week, man. But oh my gosh, Waddle's such a good player too. But yeah, it's not like Olave's a slouch. So give me Olave there. Knicks or Dart, Sutton or Ramondre. Oh, that's not Knicks. Not against Philly. I'm good. I guess I'll take Jackson Dart. We're hoping that he runs the ball a lot. You know what? Let me go back on that. Philadelphia is really tough. There's no question. But it's not like I just don't want to get caught up in the Dart hype. Is I guess where I'm going with this. They won a game. And that's why Dart has hype. If you think about it, it's the most vibesy team. Cam Scatterbo vibes. He's a good player. I love Cam Scatterbo, but again, it's not like he was efficient or that good, but they won the game, right? And that's why there's so much hype around Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. I don't know. I'm not a big Dart guy, man. Where's that dude in the chat that always is yelling at me and saying that I'm going to be switching my tune up on Dart? I'm surprised he's not in the chat taking a victory lap on my ass this week. I'm going to say, you know what, man, Matt, I'm still going to lean Knicks here. I'm not the biggest dart guy. And shoot, man. Again, I don't like Sutton this week. Not against that Philadelphia Quinyon Mitchell. No. Give me Ramondre. So give me Knicks and Ramondre. God, dude, I hope I'm not 0 for 2 on that. God, man. Matt, I hope I'm not 0 for 2, bro. I swear. This question is going to be weighing on my mind all day. I could tell already. Oh, man. By the way, see, y'all don't realize, man, like, I do take this stuff personally. Like, I want y'all to do well. I really do. Jordan Arhart, Ultimate Warrior. Hell yeah, let's go. I appreciate the shout out. Austin Slaughter, Michael Carter, Pacheco for a bench spot. Pacheco, better offense overall. Austin Slaughter, Coker off of IR. Yeah, it's interesting. Full point PPR, big fella. Olave, White, or Godwin? Olave. Big fella. Go Olave here. Hope I got to you in time. Dart or Stroud? I love Stroud this week against Baltimore. I think he's got 2 touchdowns in the bag. Let's go. Jordan Arhart, Pollard or Chase Brown, half PPR. Give me Chase Brown right here. Give me Chase Brown. I think their defense bounces back. Again, it's been a tough 2 weeks. I think they have a much softer matchup this week. Dustin Wells, start 2, flex, full point PPR, Dobbins, Pittman, Woody, Marks, Carter. Okay, we're starting 2. Okay, we're starting Pittman for sure. And give me Dobbins right there. Give me Pittman and Dobbins. Actually, you know what? Give me Pittman and Woody. I'm torn on the Dobbins-Woody one, but give me Pittman and Woody. I think you're getting decent floor with Pittman, and I want to chase that upside with Woody. Marvin Allen, Kamara or Debo? I'm going to say Kamara. I think he's got a pretty decent matchup against the Giants. Giants can't stop the run. It's all good. Give me Kamara. Dana Coleman, drop Slayton, pick up Kirk. No, don't do that. I'd rather keep Slayton. Drop Dobbs. Oh, God, no. Pick up Washington? No. Oh, God, no. No. Don't do that. Drop Lawrence and pick up Stroud. Yes. Do that. That I do. But don't drop Dobbs. For Washington? Malik Washington? No. Drop Slayton for Kirk? No. We're not doing that either. Dana, don't do that. But yeah, drop Lawrence, pick up Stroud. 100%. Yes. Daniel Quintana, J.K. Dobbins, or Zay Flowers. Give me Dobbins. I don't know what's up with the backup quarterback there with Zay. I don't love it, but shoot. Give me J.K. Dobbins right there. And Jordan Arhart, man. Okay, good. There we go. I can't believe it. I think I got to all the questions, y'all. Did I? That's crazy. That's wild. Okay. I appreciate everyone out there. I hope everyone has a great week number 5. I will see you guys next week. By the way, if y'all want to follow me, all the way, let's go, at James D. Koh. Matt, man, dude, sorry, bro. If I got to you too late, man, my bad. Anyways, if y'all follow me at James D. Koh, I do answer questions a lot on all the social media handles, man. But I appreciate everyone jumping in, man. Great stream. I love the questions, man. Put my brain in some pickles, made me think about some things. But I'll see you guys next week, man. Again, I just want everyone to have a great week 5. Remember, it's never too late to chase your dreams. All right, peace.